Hey folks, this is Everyone Loves Pirates, and if you've been around for a while or if you've dug around in the archives, you'll notice that I've done quite a few videos on Ludum Dare games. And in the past, I've kind of explained what Ludum Dare was a little bit in some of the videos as I was recording them and then kind of let it peter out a bit. So this time I want to do something a little different and just explain off the bat in its own video what the Ludum Dare competition is and where these games come from and why they're so cool and why I think you should play them, or at least watch the videos and maybe let the developers know what you think. So Ludum Dare is a competition where people make video games. And that's become pretty popular nowadays. There's a lot of competitions out there for making video games in a short period of time. But this was one of, if not the first. This is the first one that I knew about, and I believe they've been around since like 2002. So what makes Ludum Dare so special is really, in my mind, it's the 48-hour competition, or what I believe they call the compo. Basically, it's broken down into two different things that are going on over this kind of weekend, this last weekend, and one of them is the jam. So that happens over 72 hours, and it's where a team of people can come together and they can make a video game. They can use assets that they've made previously, or that they can use them from other sources, buy them, or whatever, what have you. It's really kind of the easy way to get in and get involved in a competition where people can make a video game in a short period of time and kind of push themselves and see what they're able to do. Now, to me, the really cool one is the comp. Not that that isn't cool, and I've played some cool games that come out of the jam, but what's really fascinating to me is the compo, where you're one person, only one person can work on it, and you're making a game in 48 hours, and you have to make everything from scratch, all the assets. So we're talking the graphics, the audio, the code, everything. You make yourself within the time frame. That's the rule. Everything has to be made within those 48 hours. And I just find that fascinating, what people can come up with in such a short period of time. And the code, they have to provide the source code afterwards, or the project file, or whatever it is, depending on how they made the game. And it's basically, you're not winning a prize or anything like that. It's just to push yourself as a developer and see what you can do. And a lot of these devs make some really cool games, and they go on to actually make full versions of those games that they go on to sell or just update and give out to the community for free. So let's look at kind of more of what the rules are. So we've gone over kind of just really quickly what you need to know just as a viewer while you're watching these things. And really the only other thing I want to touch on is that you have this judging for these games. How are they judged? And what I find pretty interesting and makes me a little sad, I guess, is that only people who have submitted a game can judge the submissions to Ludum Dare. So really I think it's a great idea, because it keeps just people like you or me who don't really understand what's gone into this whole process, because we're not game developers, from being just kind of too down on the games, right? It's only made in 48 hours. A lot of the people who make these games, especially in the 48-hour compo, they have something that they specialize in, right? Maybe it's graphics, so the sound and the code is pretty basic, or maybe they're really great coders, but they're just barely scraping together like stick figures and what people think of as, I don't want to say pixel art, because I love pixel art, but like when people think bad pixel art, that kind of pixel art. So only people who've made a game can judge a game. I think that's really a great idea. Now, they're judged overall, but also in specific categories. So you have, and really the categories are self-explanatory. I don't really need to go into any depth, but you have innovation, fun, theme, graphics, audio, humor, mood, and overall. And yes, every Ludum Dare competition has a theme that's actually voted on by the people who are entering the competition. So really it's a competition by the developers for the developers. Now, they also have this idea of coolness, and basically this is to help drive people to actually vote on the games. So you can make a game and then submit it and not be involved any further in the process, but if you do that, you're actually less likely to have anyone even find your game, and we'll get into that a little bit later, and also judge it as well, vote on it as well. So you need to be voting as well as entering. So the more games you play and rate, the higher your coolness score is. I just did air quotes, just in case you were wondering. And the more coolness you have, the more discoverability your game is going to have, more people that will see your game and rate it, and so on and so forth. So it's a way to encourage people to give back and to rate, and not just make a game and that be the end of it. We've said there's no prizes or anything like that. So let's look at kind of the top here. So the theme for this Ludum Dare, number 31, is the entire game on one screen. And actually, if we want to look at the theme, oh, actually, that's not it. Sorry about this. I was looking at the theme somewhere earlier. Well, there is somewhere on here on the Ludum Dare page where it lists what themes were voted on. And this one won fairly handily. Second place was artificial intelligence, and third place was the ASCII code for a snowman. I didn't really get that, but it was leading the race for quite a while. I've been kind of checking in on this. I do not code video games. I know nothing about coding video games except for some quick basic stuff I did as a kid when I was bored, and I just messed around with like Worm and made some like text adventure games that were pretty poor. So there's actually quite a lot of time to judge the games. Once again, I can't judge them, but neither can you unless you entered. But there's another 18 days basically for people to judge the games. Now, I mentioned that discoverability can be an issue for games. And if you are kind of looking at the screen, you can see overall there were 2,637 games entered. And if we look at the compo, the 48-hour single-man team ones, 1,365 entries to Ludum Dare compo. And if we look at the jam, basically it's split pretty even. So we have 1,272. So, I mean, it can be pretty difficult to find games. And I believe every time you kind of click on it, when you reload the page, you get different games. Or at least in the past, when I've gone through before the judging was over with, I get kind of different games. It's not like it is in alphabetical order, but it's not complete alphabetical order, if that makes any sense. These aren't all the A games: Achievement Get, Andres Soto, and Astro Conflict. There's tons that start with A. But it's kind of... It's... My brain is failing me. It's making sure that people... Like, the same games aren't always on the front page, right? It's mixing it up a bit so that every game gets a chance for some exposure and to be seen and to be played and to be judged. So where do I come in? Well, the reason why I do videos for this, first and foremost, is because I think it's amazing. I love seeing what people can do in such a short period of time, and I love playing the games. They're all interesting games. I've never played a game where I was like, that was a complete waste of time. And this really goes back to my childhood. I grew up with very simple games. I grew up with, Nintendo Entertainment System, and my buddy had an Atari, and I've played on Commodore 64s and Apple IIs and, all these old machines. My dad worked for IBM. He'd bring home, just really old. Back then, it was really old. It was new hardware, but nowadays, I mean, it was old hardware. But I would have all these, opportunities to play games pretty early on in video game kind of history. At least the way we think of video games now. Obviously, they, you go back to Pong, or playing, on some rasterized display or whatever you would call it. But no, I play games in the arcades, and I did play very simple games. I logged on to BBSs and downloaded shareware and all that kind of stuff. So these are kind of, they take me back. Takes me back to when games were all about fun, right? They're about the experience of playing the game. It wasn't just about graphics or sound or cinematics and cutscenes and QuickTime events, though there was Dragon Lair. But, I mean, for me, games are about fun, and that's why I love indie games. Now, that's not to say there's not a place for games where, it is more of just a sit back and watch experience. It's just, for me, I just really, really enjoy playing games for the experience of playing the game, and I can look past the lack of really great graphics or sound effects. If you've seen my other videos, a lot of times I turn the music off in games because I find it more distracting than anything else. So that's why I enjoy playing the games just anyways. The reason why I do the videos, one is because when I started my channel, it was just something I do really quickly to get used to recording and stuff. And then as I decided to continue the channel after I did the Crusader Kings tutorial series, which was my point for starting the channel, it was more of just, I like playing games, and I like sharing that experience with others, and I like maybe bringing other people's attention to games. Not that I have that big a viewership, but I just kind of decided, when I'm playing games, if at all possible, I'm going to record it. And unless it's completely useless and, not worth watching, I'll put it up there. So if someone wants to watch it, they can. So that's why I do it. But when I started doing these videos, something that I found was pretty interesting was that the people who created the games, the devs, would find my videos. And we're talking way back when I had 20 subscribers. Not that I have a ton right now. I got 300 something. But it was amusing when I wasn't really expecting to have anyone view any of the videos, and I'm getting these messages from people like, "Oh, thanks for playing my game. I was really interested to see how you did this. I was really surprised that you did that. Oh, you shouldn't have been able to do that. You kind of broke something. I'll go fix that." And I found it was providing a service to the devs. Now, not every dev found my game, and I didn't go out and find them. They found me. But I was pretty. I felt involved. It was really neat. I was glad that I could give back to these devs who don't get to see people play their games. And the way I've typically played these games is that I play them sight unseen. I'll just boot up the game and I'll screw around with recording software because it can be a pain, because these are all made in different types of game makers, or they have different sorts of menus when you start them up to be able to, choose resolution and all that kind of stuff. I got to make sure the audio levels are right and all that. So, I'm seeing the game for a little bit before I do the video, and a couple of them I actually have to play a little bit just to make sure that the capture happens all right. But as best as I can, I'm recording the video and showing the dev me playing the game for the very first time, so they can see what things I've struggled with, what concepts or mechanics weren't obvious enough to a first-time player, maybe where they may need a tutorial or just a better description on the front page of, kind of what the controls are, or maybe they did everything right, and just my state of mind or my preconception or bias towards games, I missed something. And then maybe they can, use that feedback to help them in the future, or help them if they want to, fix the game and do a post-compo version of it, or whatever it happens to be. I think it really can be a great service for an indie developer to see someone play their game when they usually don't get that sort of option. Like, they maybe get some of their friends or family to play a game, but they're not really seeing how just someone else plays the game. So, I mean, I'm not, with friends and family, it could be they're not really going to tell you what they really think about the game. And I really don't judge the games so much. Because, one, I find them all fun to some extent anyways, at least I have so far. But, once I realized I was helping out the devs a little bit, it's more about giving constructive criticism and talking about things that worked well, and maybe if I have an idea of how something could work better just from a layperson's point of view, not as a developer, then maybe I'll mention that. But I'm not saying, oh, well, this game sucks, this isn't fun, because that's not constructive, that's not helpful. And I really, you have to come at these games with the mindset of, hey, this was done in 48 hours, which means it was really done probably in 24 hours of coding, or maybe 36. I mean, they still have to sleep, they still have to eat, rest. You can't stare at a monitor all day long, get up and walk around so you don't get deep vein thrombosis. Devs got to take care of themselves. So, they're not getting even 48 hours of coding in, or at least I hope they're not. They really need to be sleeping and eating and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully, I know there's a lot of rambling, and this is a 15-minute video for just showing a website and talking about something. But for those of you who are interested because you want to know more about Ludum Dare, or maybe you're just seeing these videos and thinking, hey, what the heck? Why is he even doing this? This is just giving you a little bit of insight into why I'm doing these videos, and just why I think it's cool and worth at least my time, if not yours as well. So I do encourage you to check out each one of the games I play, and even the games I don't play. I'm going to try to get, as many videos as I can out there and play as many games as I can as well, because I really do enjoy it. And each one will have a link to that specific game's page. So if we say Rojo Games here has a game, I've looked at quite multiple of their games in the past, Slime Spire Showdown. So I'll provide a link to a game whenever I play a game in the description, and it'll take you to this page, and it'll kind of give you like some screenshots so you can see what it looks like. It'll tell you a little bit about what it's about, how it was made, what tools you used, and then you'll get your downloads and links. So a lot of devs are going to provide a web link, some way to play it within a web browser, Unity plugin, or Java, or HTML5 or Flash, or whatever it happens to be. Just because that allows people to play it quicker, which means that they're more likely to actually play it and rate it instead of having to download a zip file and extract it and then boot up the exe and so on and so forth. Personally, I prefer, especially because since most people, not most, actually it might be most, I don't know, a lot of devs for the games I play tend to be using Unity. I really like Unity EXEs that have a launcher. Not all Unity games seem to use it. I don't know what it takes during development to do that, but when I can pick at least the resolution before I start the game, it helps me a ton when it comes to recording. Otherwise, I'm booting up probably Chrome because I'm in Pale Moon right now. I have Chrome kind of just off to the side with the Unity plugin installed, so I can just boot that up for very specific things like Ludum Dare. I think that's why I installed it, was from one of the previous Ludum Dares. But you have those options, especially with Unity. You can have other OSs as well, and yeah, I encourage you to try those games, even if you have to download it. Go ahead and download it. It takes all of probably like 20 seconds if you're capable of watching YouTube videos. These games are always going to be particularly small. Windows comes with a zip file viewer / abstractor nowadays. So for the last probably, I don't know, decade, when they start doing that, XP. Anyways, it's worth a shot. And if you see me play a game and you think it's fun, give it a download, give it a shot. I'm not gonna show every aspect of a game. I'm kind of give a real quick rundown of the game, but I'm not gonna play it to death. So don't feel like you got the full experience just by watching the video. Definitely give it a shot. And if you are a developer and you're watching my videos so that you can rate other people's projects, other people's Ludum Dare things that they did for this, man, it's late and my brain is going. Don't do that. Don't watch play the game. Don't use my thoughts as your own. That's plagiarism. Yeah. It really is late and my brain is going, I better not play any of these games tonight. But I'm looking forward to playing them soon, and I will get those videos up probably right after I put this video up. So thanks a lot for watching, and let me know what you think in the comments of just in either any of the videos, but even this one, if you just want to kind of talk about what Ludum Dare is and if you've enjoyed it in the past, or what possibly these types of games mean to you. So thanks a lot for watching, folks. This is Everyone Loves Pirates, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Bye-bye.